Alright guys, you know I love medieval mods in Total War, and there is a pretty much new mod on the scene that the last time I covered was still in development, but is now released to the public. From the medieval 1100 AD team on Rome 2 Total War, this is 1207 AD. It takes place on the Wrath of Sparta campaign map, which is awesome, I love it, and there are currently 5 playable factions you can get into right now. So what I'm going to do in this video is go through everything you need to know about these playable factions, their unit rosters, the battle balancing, how the campaign actually plays, the AI behavior, everything. And I guarantee by the end, you're going to want to check out this beautiful overhaul campaign for yourself. So starting with the playable factions, we've got the Lordship of Crete down in the south there. We've got the Principality of Nicaea, which starts as a vassal state of the Latin Empire. These are our Catholic factions at the moment. There is a Norman faction, which is quite interesting, called the County Palatine of Kefalonia, which is quite cool. Around the north of this faction, up here on the map, should be Venice as well, which hopefully, I'm really hoping this is going to be playable in the future, not quite playable at the moment. And then we've got an Orthodox faction with the Tsardom of Bulgaria, which makes sense. This is a very complete faction in the 1100 AD mod as well. And, you know, it's going to be very interesting with the Byzantine factions to your east, the settled Crusaders with the Latin Empire just next to you as well. You might want to go to war with them and take Constantinople. Lots of interesting potential here with Bulgaria. And then finally, guys, we've got the Sultanate of Rome. Really great established kind of southern presence in Anatolia. Could potentially go north and take on the Byzantines and even go all the way north to Constantinople as well. Now, of course, you will notice that the Byzantine factions here are not playable. They are in a closed beta at the moment. They're going through some testing, balancing, etc. Lots of work still to be done there, but you can play them if you want to. So all you have to do is go into the Discord, contact the modders directly, and ask them if you can get access to the closed beta. These will be made public in a future update very soon, guys. So if you don't want to do that, you want to wait until they're finished, they will hopefully be done and released in the next few months as well. Now, looking at the campaign map here, guys, I'm just playing as Bulgaria at the moment, but I'll play as one of the others to reveal this area as well later on. But what we can see here is the Latin Empire, obviously, with this kind of section of Anatolia, surrounded by the Crusaders who have settled in Constantinople and the surrounding areas, territory, the islands, etc. here as well. Interestingly, you've got Bulgaria already at war with the Latin Empire, so that's going to be a very difficult, I think, tough fight with the kind of Crusader units that they're going to have access to, I think. And you're kind of split off by the Kingdom of Thessalonica between your territory here as well, which is quite cool. They have a lot of cities here. I'm really hoping Thessalonica is made accessible in the future as well. And in the west, you've got the Despotate of Epirus, which is quite cool. I think they stretch all the way down here with a few cities as well, and they have Venice just next to them. So hoping Venice, like I said, is going to be a playable faction. You're able to kind of go in and expand into Epirus or create really cool kind of trade merchant economies with the rest of the kind of factions and kingdoms here. Maybe taking over Crete would be quite fun, doing a sort of historical run with Venice. But yeah, so lots of major factions here in the north side. We've got the Selcuks down here. There's this unknown green, oh, here we go, Principality of Phrygia here, which is quite cool as well. A prime target of the Selcuks to begin with. We've got the Principality of Rhodes with a few islands here. We've got the Duchy of Naxos. And then just to finish off with this region revealed now as well, I've got the Principality of Achaea. We've got Venice here owning the city of Modon on the mainland as well. We've got obviously the County Palatine of Kefalonia. Epirus stretches all the way down here. We've got the Despotate of Carinthia. Athens is here as well, and the Triarchy of Negroponte. So lots of interesting factions in this side of the world. It's just a very cool fragmented region of kind of post-Byzantine dominance that are all vying for power, warring against each other, alliances to take over others. And you know, you've got the big kind of showdown between the Latin Empire and Nicaea here, and Bulgaria, Thessalonica, and the Seljuk Sultanate of Rome. It's just a very, very interesting campaign map. Playability is going to be through the roof, I think. think. The only thing I would say, I'm really hoping though, is I really hope the mod team actually develops some more naval units for this map. I think the Wrath of Sparta map is ripe for naval battles here. Some more medieval looking naval ships would be really cool. And yeah, just to have a bit more of a kind of naval kind of gameplay and dominance potential for the player and the campaign. Now, as far as how the campaign actually plays, it's pretty good. I've enjoyed some of it. There are still some balancing issues I think that need to be ironed out, or I would make suggestions for changes that I think need to be done, in my opinion, to make it a bit more fun. For example, movement points are, you know, for the scale of the map and how many cities there are, the spaces in between, I think that movement points are still a little bit too low for traversing across your territory. You know, if Corinthia came and attacked Mistress from the north via Nauplia, I can't move this army there quickly enough. I would have to recruit an army in Mistress, and that's a lot of money to do. I think that you should be able to move an army across your territory within 2 or 3 turns. Otherwise, you know, you're just not going to be able to have the fights, the battles that you want to have. So this is something I think that needs to be buffed up a bit more in this campaign. Another area that I think still needs a bit of tweaking and balancing is the military equipment system, which is there and conceptually I think does make a bit of sense. It makes things interesting, but I don't think it's quite balanced just yet. You know, you can build and create weaponry, medium armor, heavy armor, horses, as you can see here, through various buildings and depending on resources that you have access to from region to region. But I still think this kind of bootstraps you a bit too much versus it being an opportunity to kind of explore and build new types of buildings to get access to them and therefore get access to new kinds of units. Like, I like the idea, I just don't think it's there just yet. And then the other area that I'm not quite sure of is, if you didn't know, the medieval 1100 AD team tried to implement basically a medieval 2 style diplomacy system where you have to send an emissary or have a mutual border with a faction that you want to engage with to actually have diplomacy with them. So for example, County Palatine of Cephalonia, they are an island kingdom here, and I can't engage with them because I don't have a mutual border or I haven't sent a general or an emissary in their lands, which, you know, general, again, doesn't really quite make sense if I'm going to, you know, have traversal diplomatic penalties with them at the same time as trying to engage with them. I don't have a mutual border with them because they're an island, you know, but, you know, I can actually do this with the Latin Empire of Constantinople, so I can engage them with diplomacy if I want to, because I already have a defensive pact with them. So, you know, in some ways it does make sense. It does make things quite interesting, but in other ways it's a bit bootstrapping and doesn't really make sense either. So there's a bit of balancing that still needs to be ironed out here as well. The rest of the campaign, though, guys, I do quite like. I mean, the AI does engage quite actively, aggressively. You know, if you're playing as Nicaea, for example, Corinthia will attack you if you're not careful, and they will kind of be sneaky, go up to Patras and maybe divert and take over Drobalica if you're not defending properly enough. You've got, you know, redone family trees. Hopefully more political parties will get added to make that a bit more interesting as well. But everything here, skills, traits, all of that has been redone. You've got unit rosters that are quite new, lots of new units for each of these playable factions, AOR units, you know, mercenaries that are quite interesting and unique to each of these regions as well. Yeah, there's a lot here that is quite interesting and cool, and obviously kind of plays in to the rest of what you can do in this campaign as well. And then finally, guys, let's have a look at the battles, the unit rosters, how balancing is, how it plays. You know, we've got 2 huge factions here and armies that I want to show off. This is the Latin Empire of Constantinople on the right and the Despotate of Epirus with an army on the left. So let's just scroll through some of these really interesting units. The Latin Empire obviously has lots of Crusader units. They've just conquered Constantinople, hence the name, the Latin Empire of Constantinople. These are the the heavy, very heavy melee cavalry, the Crusaders heavy cavalry here. Lovely looking shield designs, helmets, obviously tunics. The cavalry looks really good as well. We've got Frankish heavy cavalry here, also look really good. Some of these units, you know, just overlap with some of the previous campaigns that this team has developed as well. The 1177 Crusades campaign and the 1100 AD campaign. Some of these units do carry over, but some of them are also new. So we've got Hospitaller Knights here as well, which look really good. Some Templar Knights, very classic, looking good here as well. So that's kind of the cavalry units that I've got here. I also got the Generals unit, which is the lesser Frankish Knights. A little bit different, a little bit less kind of armor here going on compared to the Frankish Knights over that we just looked at. We've got some infantry over here, so armored axe warriors. We've got crossbowmen in the front. We've got Frankish chosen swordsmen in the back and reserves, and we've got Crusader spearmen, which look really good. I mean, look at these guys, menacing spearmen. Lots of helmet variation here. Lovely shield design, kind of like dismounted Crusader, heavy Crusader knights that we just saw, which look really good. We've got some. Who are these guys? Let's see. Frankish spear sergeants back here, heavy swordsmen over here, Crusader infantry, nice swordsmen over on this side in reserves as well, Frankish archers, really nice looking infantry unit roster here. And this isn't even all of the infantry that the Latin Empire get access to. So really cool looking unit roster. Routier, we've got Pilgrim Spearmen on the back here, which is a classic medieval 1100 unit. Frankish sergeants again over here, and some heavy crossbowmen. And then, you know, I just wanted to add this here as well. If you didn't know, the medieval mods for Rome 2 also have custom-made trebuchet kind of siege weaponry, mangonel kind of style units here. Actually, they're trebuchet, they're not mangonels, but they look really good. There's a trebuchet here, and there's a heavy trebuchet here, so kind of added range and power with these heavier variations. And then over on the Despotate of Epirus side of things, we've got some really cool looking units. Let's have a look at the cavalry first. So we've got cataphracts over down the hill on this side. I've got the battle pause, so clearly they're already moving based on the screen kind of shaking here. But they look really good, lovely looking variation in terms of cavalry armor, front, whole, shield designs, you know, the difference in helmets, what they're wearing, the weaponry, all looking really good here as well. We've got Cavalorioi here, again, another kind of swords-based cavalry melee unit. More cataphracts just above them. In the melee infantry side of things, we've got Romaic axemen, which look really cool. Actually, lovely looking kind of beard designs, and lots of variation in terms of light armor wearing infantry here, and more heavier chainmail wearing units as well. In front of them, we've got the classic Scutatoi spearmen with some very vibrant shield designs here as well. Siphonatores just in front of them, which is a super powerful ranged unit. Very heavily armored units here as well. As you can see, just behind all of these guys, we've got Tagmata Guard, very kind of menacing, almost sort of aggressive looking infantry units here. Really cool, beautiful looking armor and shields and helmets, lots of variation here. Scutatoi spearmen just above them as well. Toxotoi archers, Tagmata Guard again behind them. We've got crossbowmen just above these Toxotoi as well. Really heavy crossbowmen. Got more kind of spearmen here with the Spatharoioi Guard, looking really good. Really gonna butcher these pronunciations in this battle. We've got Varangian Guard just behind them. Really powerful looking Axeman units. Really cool. And then yeah, just more Varangians, more Scutatoi, more cavalry just above them. This is essentially what the Despotate of Epirus is gonna look like unit roster wise. And as I said, this unit roster is going to be very similar to the other Byzantine rosters that you have in the campaign as well. And then finally, guys, let's talk about battle balancing very briefly. There are some good things here. I think that cavalry engagements feel really good. Cavalry, especially heavier cavalry, can put up a fight against medium or earlier light infantry units, which is nice. Against spearmen, obviously you don't want to do that. Ranged units feel really good as well. They put up a huge amount of impact against your enemy units. You want to have an ample amount of ranged units to fill your unit roster out. But the main problem I have at the moment, and it's really been a problem I've had with all the medieval mods for Rome 2, is the melee engagements. I think that morale is still not quite balanced enough, so battles don't last that long, especially if you're using tactics like flanking around the enemy. The enemy will start hemorrhaging very, very quickly, taking lots of casualties, and they break really quickly. So I think pacing is a little bit off, and I think personally that's really down to morale at the moment. But overall, I mean, the immersion is great. I really do like cavalry here, especially compared to MK1212. I think that ranged is really good here as well. I just wish that things lasted a little bit longer, essentially. And that's it for today, guys. So the 1207 AD campaign is here, and it's really quite cool. I love that there's a medieval campaign on the Wrath of Sparta campaign map. It's really fun, lots of great playable factions here, and even more that you can get access to if you want to contact the modders directly on their Discord to get more factions and play the full closed beta version of the mod. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of the 1207 campaign in the comments as well, and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.